Hey guys, Ryan here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the best button layout for people who don't have paddles and want to have quote unquote cracked movement. So you're going to go into your settings, you're going to go all the way to the button layout section, and you're going to scroll down till you see bumper, jumper, tactical. I use flipped, so that means my triggers are flipped and I don't have to hit the back ones to shoot, I hit the front ones, but that's just a personal preference. So you're going to switch it to bumper jumper tactical, and what this is going to allow you to do is this is going to allow you to slide cancel while aiming. This is going to allow you to bunny hop while aiming. This is going to allow you to do pretty much everything that you see top Warzone players doing, except you don't need some fancy $150 controller. For example, if you were to want to slide cancel at this button layout, you would hit your right thumbstick twice and then you would hit your left trigger once. So that would just be boom, boom, boom. That's it. 3 button presses. You don't have to remove your finger from the right thumbstick. You can still aim. You can still move around while doing that. If you wanted to jump shot and then hit a little bunny hop, all you have to do is hit your left trigger twice or your left front button. It could be whatever it is for your bumper jumper setup. Mine's flip, so remember that. But all you're going to do is just hit that jump button twice, and you can do that while aiming and keeping your thumb on the right thumbstick. So what you want to do to get advanced, quote unquote, cracked movement is you want to practice these basics. Practice the slide cancel, practice your jump shot, practice your drop shot. Those are the 3 basic fundamentals of movement. But then this next thing you really want to do is you then want to practice things like a bunny hop. You want to practice the crossover, which is when you slide cancel into a jump shot. And all of those you can do. If you just see in the background, I'm using this button setup. I can slide cancel and do my little crossover hop, all without needing my paddle controller. I have a paddle controller, but I switched to my default one and was doing all of this movement without any of my paddles. One big issue that people don't understand about their own movement, though, is that their sensitivity is too low to actually have quote unquote cracked movement. Now, I keep using the term cracked movement, and that's just because it's a common term, but what I really mean by that is really good movement. It's just another term for people who actually have movement that wins them gunfights, that beats people. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. You see, I'm doing all these fancy turns, and I play at 12-12 sensitivity with linear response curve. I'm now going to turn my sensitivity down to about 5.5, and you're going to notice how different my movement looks. I am going to be trying to do the exact same things I was just doing, but look at how slow and sluggish it looks. You do not need to play on 12-12 sensitivity. I am not saying that, but do go around the area between 7.7 and 10.10 sensitivity, because good movement often requires doing these little horizontal turns to your left and right all the time, and that's where you need slightly higher sensitivity, and that's something that a lot of people lack. Even if you were to master your movement in terms of just overall controls, you wouldn't actually be able to have quote unquote that good of movement, because you're not going to be able to be moving horizontally fast enough to have the quote unquote cracked movement. Now, another big issue I think for a lot of people is just going to be adjusting to the control scheme. I would heavily recommend going into a plunder, playing a couple clash games, whatever is available to you, and getting used to this in a setting where there's not a lot of punishment. You're going to be using your stim when you mean to jump. You're going to be using your munitions box when you don't mean to. You're just going to be making a bunch of little mistakes like that, and you're not going to know how to do certain things because it's not going to be muscle memory. But you have to give yourself time to learn it and build that muscle memory. If you are not practicing, if you are not giving yourself time to learn this muscle memory, you aren't going to have good movement. You aren't going to be able to learn this setup. But I do promise that if you take the time to learn things like drop shotting, jump shotting, how to use the right stick to slide cancel with the left trigger and all of that, you are going to become a much better player. It doesn't sound good to a lot of people, but Warzone is really dependent on your movement. I know that can scare some people, but it really shouldn't. Movement is actually very simple to learn, and it's extremely rewarding. You don't have to have insane movement like the best streamers, but you just want to be able to do certain things, and you want it to be able to help you win games and win gunfights. So just to recap, you want to make sure you're going into your settings and you want to use bumper jumper tactical. They're 2 different settings, but this is what's going to allow you to slide cancel. This is what's going to allow you to jump shot, all without having to move your thumb from the right stick. Secondly, you want to make sure that you are using a sensitivity that's actually high enough to allow you to pivot and use these horizontal movements. I cannot stress it enough. A lot of really good movement is maximizing your use of these small little horizontal turns to maximize your jump shot distance, to maximize your slide cancels, and just to mentally trick your opponents. lastly, and most importantly, maybe in my opinion, is you have to give yourself a chance to learn this, and you have to give yourself a chance to build up the muscle memory. All of these things are going to be dependent on your muscle memory, and there's just no replacement for time when it comes to things like muscle memory. I also know I use terms like quote unquote like 6 or 7 times during this video, and I'm sorry about that. It was just what was on my mind when talking about that, especially when I use a term like cracked. I hope you guys understood what I meant though throughout this entire video, and I hope that you guys understand you can actually get really, really good movement even if you don't have a paddle controller, even if you don't have access to things like that. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm currently on vacation in the Netherlands. I recorded this video before I left. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was kind of shorter than what I usually do, but I also know that a lot of people, when they look up things like this, they just want to get the info as fast as possible, get it done with, implement it into their games, and move on from there. Anyways, guys, as I said before, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been Ryan. I hope you have a good day. Peace.